The morning begins softly. A pale gold light spills across the tiled roofs of Pompeii, painting them in warm shades of ochre and red. The air is gentle and cool, still touched by the breath of the night before. From somewhere down a narrow street, the low call of a street vendor echoes. Fresh bread, baked in the wood-fired ovens just before dawn. You step out into the lane, the stones beneath your feet smooth and dark from centuries of footsteps. Traders, farmers, children on their way to lessons. The city is already awake. A woman in a deep blue stola stands in her doorway, shaking out a linen cloth. Across the way, a boy chases a stray dog, both of them skidding across the worn basalt paving stones. Above it all, looms Vesuvius, quiet, a mountain wrapped in a haze that the people have long accepted as part of its nature. Few here think of it as dangerous. To them, it is a guardian, a backdrop. The vineyards on its slopes produce the deep, red wine the city is known for. Its soil, rich with ancient ash, feeds the orchards and olive groves. The forum is already alive with voices. Merchants in white tunics haggle over baskets of figs and dates. Olive sellers line their jars in neat rows, sunlight glinting off the oil. At the far end, the Temple of Jupiter rises over the square, its columns catching the light. Near its steps, a painter sets out small pots of red and yellow pigments, ready to add another fresco to a merchant's villa. In Pompeii, art is not a luxury. It's part of the air, woven into walls, fountains, and even shop signs. You pass through the shadowed entrance of a thermopolium, a small street-front cafe. In the marble counter are deep round holes where amphorae sit, keeping wine cool and stews warm. The owner ladles out a portion of lentils to a traveler, sprinkling it with herbs from a jar. The scent of rosemary and savory drifts into the street. From somewhere beyond, you hear the rhythmic slap of cloth on stone. Women washing laundry at the public fountain. Water spills in a steady stream from the carved bronze spout, worn smooth by years of hands and buckets. A man fills a jug, balancing it easily on his shoulder as he turns toward home. Along the Via dell'Abbondanza, the city's main street, you pass grand houses with painted facades. The House of the Faun, with its intricate mosaic of Alexander the Great, lies quiet for now. Shutters, half drawn to keep out the morning sun. Its atrium floor glitters faintly with tesserae, tiny stone tiles, laid in patterns that have already lasted generations. The baker's shop next door smells of yeast and charred wood. Inside, round loaves cool on a wooden table, each one scored with lines so they can be divided easily. These loaves, stamped with the baker's mark, will be sold within the hour. Bread is life here, eaten with cheese, olives, or dipped in garum, the fermented fish sauce beloved by the Romans. Past the shops, the streets narrow again, shaded by balconies draped with drying laundry. The voices of children spill from a schoolroom. A teacher reading aloud in Latin, his voice low and deliberate. Outside, a small shrine to the household gods is tucked into a wall, painted with bright red borders. Someone has left fresh figs there this morning, a small offering for protection and good fortune. As you walk, the city reveals its layers. There are the polished marble steps of the wealthy, the cracked stone thresholds of modest homes, the graffiti etched into walls by anonymous hands, lovers' names, election slogans, jokes, a record of the human heartbeat in a city alive with motion. By mid-morning, the sun is high and warm. Shadows draw sharp lines across the streets. In the Stabian baths, the air is thick with steam. Men recline on benches, chatting, as attendants pour water from bronze ladles. The floors are patterned in black and white mosaics, geometric and precise. Outside, women move through the marketplace, with baskets slung over their arms, choosing olives, honey, and bunches of grapes, still dusted with bloom. In the distance, just faintly, a tremor, so slight you might think you imagined it. A jug rattles softly against the counter in a nearby shop. The merchant steadies it, shrugs, and carries on. Here in Campania, small quakes are not rare. Most people don't even pause. And so the day continues. You make your way toward the amphitheater. The structure rises ahead, its arched entrances welcoming you into a space that can hold 20,000 people. Today there is no spectacle, no gladiators, no wild beasts. Instead, a group of workers repairs a section of seating, their voices echoing in the emptiness. The scent of fresh-cut wood drifts from the scaffolding. From here, the road leads past vineyards heavy with ripening grapes. Farmers bend over the vines, checking for signs of pests. The earth between the rows is dark and fertile. A cart creaks past, pulled by a pair of mules. The driver nods in greeting as you step aside. Near the city gates, travelers arrive from Naples and Herculaneum, dust clinging to their sandals. They speak of trade, of family visits, of the warm weather along the coast. No one speaks of danger. Vesuvius stands in the distance, still quiet, its slopes green and familiar. As the noon sun leans overhead, the city hums with its usual rhythm. In shaded courtyards, servants carry trays of olives and cheese to their masters. In workshops, bronze is hammered into delicate oil lamps. A poet leans in a doorway, reciting a verse to a small, amused audience. The air smells of bread, of wine, of sun-warmed stone, and yet, every so often, there's another tremor, a subtle shiver beneath your feet, just enough to make a jug ring softly, or a shutter rattle. Each time, life resumes, as though nothing happened. The people of Pompeii have seen it before, and they believe they will see it again without consequence. For now, it is just another day in a beautiful, thriving city. The colors are bright, the streets alive, and the shadow of the mountain falls softly over it all. By early afternoon, the sun is still bright overhead, but the air feels different. It is subtle at first, a faint heaviness, as though the warmth is thicker, harder to breathe. Somewhere near the forum, the sound of hammers on bronze pauses. A craftsman looks toward Vesuvius. The mountain is no longer quiet. A thin column of white-gray vapor rises from its peak, twisting slowly into the blue sky. At first it looks harmless, like morning mist clinging to the summit. But it grows, stretching higher, darker. People notice, of course. A few point, shading their eyes with their hands. Others laugh lightly, saying perhaps it is steam or clouds. After all, Vesuvius is part of their world. It has been there forever. The tremors return, not sharp, but longer this time. You feel them through the soles of your sandals, a low rolling beneath the stones. A jug tips on a counter and falls, clay, shattering against the floor. At a baker's shop, an apprentice steps into the street, wiping flour from his arms. He watches the plume, now tinged with streaks of brown and black. The air smells faintly of sulfur, sharp, almost metallic. In the marketplace, merchants glance upward, but business goes on. A woman picks through figs, choosing the ripest ones. A boy carries a loaf of bread tucked under his arm. The sounds of the city continue. The hum of voices, the splash of water from a fountain, until, A sound cuts through them all. It begins deep, almost inaudible, a rumble that grows and grows until it's inside your chest. The ground shifts. From the mountain summit, an explosion, not of fire, but of stone, ash, and gas, bursts upward. The plume swells in moments, forming the shape Pliny the Younger would later describe as a pine tree, a great trunk of ash with a spreading crown. Bits of pumice, light and porous, begin to fall. At first they seem harmless, bouncing off rooftops, rolling into the street. Children pick them up, curious, laughing at how light they are. But soon they fall faster. More of them. The sound like hail against the tiles. Some people hurry indoors, pulling shutters closed. Others stand in doorways, watching the sky darken. The light turns strange. Not night, but not day. The colors muted, as though the world is behind a veil. At the baths, attendants usher people out. The pools, once steaming, ripple with falling debris. In the Forum, traders gather their goods, wrapping them in cloth. Animals grow restless. Dogs whine. Horses toss their heads. The air is thicker now. Ash drifts like gray snow, coating hair, clothing, the surface of the street. You taste it, dry, bitter, clinging to the back of your throat. The sun is pale, struggling through the cloud above. Some try to leave the city. They head for the gates, moving toward the road that leads to the sea. Others go home, hoping the walls will protect them. A man hurries past with a bundle of valuables tied in a cloth. Coins, a few pieces of jewelry. His face is set, his pace quick. By mid-afternoon, the sky is a deep, unnatural gray. Lightning flashes inside the ash cloud, brief veins of light in the darkness. The rumbling never stops now, a constant growl beneath the city. You pass the House of the Faun again. Its courtyard is quiet. The once bright mosaics are dulled beneath a thin coat of ash. A servant sweeps the tiles, but the ash falls faster than she can clear it. She shakes her head, keeps sweeping. Pumice falls in larger pieces now, some the size of your fist. Roof tiles clatter as they're struck. People hold baskets, shields, even their hands over their heads. The streets grow uneven as pumice piles up and drifts. From somewhere nearby, you hear coughing. A woman trying to calm her child. The child cries, frightened by the strange dark sky. She carries him inside, shutting the door against the falling stones. In the amphitheater, the open air is choked with falling ash. The workers from earlier are gone. A few pigeons wheel above the seats before vanishing into the gloom. The smell of sulfur is stronger now. Your eyes sting. It is harder to see more than a few houses ahead. Those still in the streets move quickly, their heads down. A man leads a donkey laden with goods, the animal's fur already gray with ash. By late afternoon, the ash is ankle deep. Walking is slower, each step a soft crunch. The sounds of the city are muted now, swallowed by the constant hiss of falling debris and the deep rumble overhead. Occasionally, a sharp crack, the sound of a roof beam giving way under the weight of pumice. Dust billows out from a collapsing building, mingling with the ash in the air. Still, some cling to routine. A woman lights a lamp in her window. A man sits on his doorstep watching the street. Perhaps they believe this will pass, that the mountain will grow quiet again. But Vesuvius has only begun. Toward evening, the tremors intensify. You feel them in the pit of your stomach, a rolling that makes the ground seem unsteady. The ash cloud is so thick now that even the lamps seem dim, their light swallowed almost as soon as it leaves the flame. The air is hot, close. Breathing feels like drawing dust into your lungs. People wrap cloth over their faces, dampening it with water from fountains. Some carry torches, the flames sputtering in the heavy air. The streets, once alive with color and noise, are shades of gray. Every surface, stone, wood, skin, wears the same pale dust. The city you walked through this morning is disappearing, its edges softened, its colors muted. The sound from the mountain is constant now, an endless roar like the sea in a storm. Each tremor sends loose stones skittering across the ground, and above it all, the column of ash towers into the sky, spreading wider, darker, a shadow that reaches far beyond Pompeii. Night is coming sooner than it should, but it is not the night the people of Pompeii expect. By the time true night should be falling, Pompeii is already in darkness. The sky above is a swirling mass of ash and stone, lit from within by flashes of volcanic lightning. The mountain roars without pause, a deep, rolling thunder that feels alive. The streets are nearly empty now. Many who could flee have gone toward the sea, toward the road that leads away from Vesuvius. But others remain, some unable to leave, some unwilling to abandon their homes. In one courtyard, a family huddles together. The father holds a lamp, the flame fluttering in the thick air. The mother keeps a wet cloth pressed over her child's mouth. The child's eyes are wide, staring upward at the strange sky. The ash is knee-deep in some places now. Each step is an effort, your legs pushing through powder that resists like heavy sand. The sound beneath your feet is soft, almost like walking on snow. A sudden crack echoes down a narrow street, the beam of a roof giving way. It collapses into the room below, sending a plume of ash and dust into the air. You hear a shout, then silence. Somewhere to the north, a red glow pulses against the cloud. Not the glow of firewood or torches, but molten rock high on the mountain slope. The air smells of sulfur and heat, metallic, sharp, and choking. From time to time, showers of larger stones fall, not just pumice now, but chunks of hardened lava. They strike with a heavy thud, breaking tiles, denting bronze. People shelter beneath whatever they can. Doorways, shields, even overturned tables. In the forum, the great open space is almost unrecognizable. Statues stand ghost-pale, cloaked in ash. The fountain at its center still runs, but the water is murky with grit. A stray dog drinks anyway, its muzzle turning gray. The few lamps that remain lit seem to float in the gloom, their halos of light small and fragile against the dark. You can see only a short distance ahead. The rest of the city is lost in shifting veils of ash. A tremor shakes the ground, stronger than before. You steady yourself against a wall. The masonry feels warm to the touch, as though the very stones have absorbed the heat from the mountain's fury. The roar changes, sharper now, as though something has broken deep inside the volcano. And then, the first pyroclastic surge arrives. It is not a wall of fire, at least not at first glance. It is a billowing cloud of superheated gas and ash. Moving faster than the wind, it rushes down the slope, hugging the ground, devouring everything in its path. The first surge reaches the outskirts of the city. Those in its way have no time to run. The heat is immense, hundreds of degrees, enough to sear flesh in an instant. Structures shudder, beams splinter, walls topple. And then, for a moment, there is stillness again. Only the hiss of falling ash remains, but it will not last. Inside one modest home, a man wraps himself in a cloak, crouching beside a low wall. He prays, words lost in the muffled world. Across the street, a woman clutches a small box of keepsakes, coins, a ring, a tiny ivory carving. She holds them as though they might protect her. The second surge comes faster. thicker, hotter. The air itself is deadly now, filled with fine ash that cuts at the lungs. Those who breathe it in cough violently, the coughing soon giving way to stillness. In the darkness, flashes of light reveal glimpses of the city's final moments. A cart left in the street, its wheels half buried in ash. A table, still set with bread and olives, untouched. A jar of wine spilled across a floor, now coated in gray. Hours pass, though it is impossible to tell time. The world is a blur of heat, ash, and the unending voice of the mountain. More surges come, some slower, some racing like wind. They collapse walls, fill courtyards, and bury entire streets in a matter of minutes. The people of Pompeii, caught where they stood, where they hid, where they tried to flee, are enveloped completely. Some are curled in corners, others sprawled on staircases, their last positions preserved by the ash that covers them. By the time dawn should come, there is no sunlight to be seen. Only the faintest gray in the sky marks the passing of the night. The mountain still smolders. The air still drifts with fine ash. The city is silent. No footsteps on the stones, no chatter in the forum, no splashing fountains. Pompeii has been sealed away beneath meters of ash and pumice, locked in place, as though time itself has stopped. Centuries will pass before it is found again. When the ash is finally cleared, the world will see not just ruins, but a city caught in its final heartbeat. Frescoes still bright, loaves of bread still in ovens, jewelry still clasped around bones, and through it all, the sense that here, on this day, life ended in the midst of living. The eruption did not erase Pompeii entirely. It preserved it in all its ordinary beauty. For the eyes of those yet to come,